Ooh.
I don't know who.
I see y'all like that little end screen on the page real quick. That last little bit there.
That fun, man.
Hey, we learning. We learning over here, man.
The visual masters. That's the visual master. Mac your boy.
Oh man, that was looking crazy.
Nah, chill. That was actually. Hey, y'all already know. Mike Vick did that. All I did was make that little joint at the end. But we getting there, man. We getting there. We gonna have some real clean stuff, man. So first of all, welcome to episode 5 of the Saturday Night Nerds podcast. Delayed one night due to a lot of stuff going on yesterday, but we didn't want to wait a whole week. We wanted to come on here and talk about some real shit, big shit that popped off thanks to Marvel and Disney, and we'll get into that in a bit. But you see the scrolling ticker at the bottom. Welcome. Make sure to subscribe, follow, share the video, like, all that good stuff. Not only here in the Facebook group, but also we're over on YouTube, Saturday Night Nerds, and then also on Twitch, Saturday Night Nerds. So we're streaming in 3 different places right now. So it's a big deal. We're trying to get out there and get our name out there. But as you see, it's the three-headed monster here. Myself, Dante, aka Straw Hat Poppy, and then my man Will D. Maben, who is calling in as he is recovering. So true player, big ups to Emperor Will D. Maben coming through for the group, coming through for the crew, man. Appreciate you, man.
Had to do it for the group, man.
With the middle finger avatar, you know.
So yesterday was not a wash, though. I had a headache and everything, but we were able to use that time I did to come up with initial designs for some of the. We're trying to get merch out here for y'all. Low-key, I'm trying to get merch out here for me because as I was designing it, I was like, yo, this shit is hot. I was just designing some shit that I'd be like, yo, this shit. Let me see if I could bring it up and share it with the OGs who might want to tune in and shit. Outside of that, I think this is what we agreed to is we want to kind of launch a line of what is I guess known as the big 3 anime wise. So Bleach, One Piece, and Naruto. And let me see if I can bring these things up. Oh, actually, I can get this share screen thing going on. Share screen. Where'd it go? Here we go. So we got the Ichigo joint. Pops up for us. No, it's not. All right, hold on. I think I did something wrong. I'm figuring this shit out. We don't make it. But anyway, as I'm bringing this stuff up, so that's our plan. We're going to get this merch out. My plan is to, by the next show, have something available that people can order.
Okay.
And then we can get shit. Then we can get shit cracking. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Ooh, that's the first point right there.
Oh yeah.
Sheesh.
Oh yeah, man.
So shout out to go. Yes.
The more I look at it, the more
that's my first right there.
That's the guy right there.
And then,
the man that Tom from Toonami introduced me to.
Man. Ooh, wee. Oh.
Monkey D. The OG.
That shit look clean.
Mm.
Pirate King himself.
Oh, no.
There he is.
Yeah.
And the boy Naruto.
Hidden Leaf Village.
All of that looks
So that's
sexy.
what we got going on.
Yeah,
So
I better show my
all of it
man
looks
some
sexy.
love for his skills.
So if y'all watching, be on the lookout, man. Immediately once we know that this is going to be available, we'll post the link, let everybody know where to reach it and get some of this merch. But I'm excited to see how that's going to look on a shirt. And then my man Will was hyping me up, talking about fits. He going coordinate some things. He going to coordinate with it and stuff. I was like, yeah, I'm ready too, bro.
You have some drip going.
Go out to the
But
club and some Saturday night nerd.
without
merch,
further
man.
delay, let us get into what everybody is talking about on the interwebs. So we talked about Disney Plus and all that good stuff, and the quality of content that they have on, and you know, we just finished up. What was it? Falcon Winter Soldier. Everybody was like, "That was pretty good. That was good. That was good." WandaVision was dope. But let us talk about Loki. We dabbled into it for a bit. Season finale was last Wednesday. So I asked this question. I feel like I know the answer, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. We're going to talk about it. The Loki season finale. Marvel hit it out the park, or did they miss something here? I'll start with you, Dante. How you feel Marvel did with this?
Lord have mercy. Everybody, bow your heads with me and say grace. Grace. That was chef's kiss. I'm not even trying to be over the top. That's a performance of a lifetime that I witnessed. Those characters really sold their roles to me, especially Jonathan. I can't remember his last name, but
Majors.
What was it? Richards?
Majors.
Jonathan Majors.
Majors from Lovecraft Country. He played the role Tick in Lovecraft Country, the main character. So if you guys aren't familiar with him, you definitely got to go check that show out as well, because that just got nominated for 18 Emmys, even though HBO decided that they don't deserve a season 2. So that's an Emmy on their behalf. And Jonathan Majors basically just showed up. He just showed up and done it again.
That's a whole nother
a whole nother time. I might even have to say that for After Hours.
Bruh.
I wouldn't expect. This is my first time seeing Kang the Conqueror on screen, brought to life by an actor, and this pretty much nailed it to the comics related to the source material. Jonathan did a great job with that. Loki, Tom Hiddleston, and the young lady that played Sylvie, they did great on their behalf too. But they got overshadowed by my boy Johnny. But I tell you, like the whole scene of them arguing over what choice they should make with the fate of the world at their hands is like, should I just take over the TVA and just live a peaceful life, or do I want to start a multiverse war? And Sylvie woke up this morning and chose violence.
She chose death.
So on one hand, we got to thank her. We got to thank her because the next stream of movies wouldn't be without her. At the same time, wherever you do not simp for Sylvie, because she knew what she did. And about 10 movies in the MCU from now, a beloved character, more than one, is probably going to get his wig split. And we got one person to thank. We give Star-Lord a hard time because a lot of wigs got split on his behalf. Ooh, you don't want to see the body that Kang's about to be responsible for. This is a huge deal for the culture.
Let the bodies hit the floor.
Antagonist. And it's a big budget film that he's starring in. and he's going to have multiple appearances, and his one scene, the very end of the show, like that sold me on that. Like dude, I know he's going to kill it from here on out. He's destined for greatness with that role. Kang the Conqueror was already one of my favorite big bads, and now he is the new big bad for the MCU. And Sylvie has no idea that she just fucked up. That's all I got to say for now.
Hold on, before we get to you, Will, let's go ahead and bring in Jack back. Welcome to the show.
Me Chinese.
I love the dedication of this crew, man. Like everything going on, we like, yo, we gonna make it. We might be late, but we want to get in and chop it up.
Oh,
I'll see you with the Saitama. Okay.
The
Saitama. Oh.
Yeah, man, it says Saitama's gym.
Gangsta.
We just need Jack Attack.
Ironic because you don't be lifting.
What?
Ironic because she don't be in the gym.
Right,
I'm playing. And don't fight me, Jackie. I love you.
We'll see who's lifting. I'll see you in the
gym. Just got violent real quick.
See the guns, Jackie. I keep telling you, you see the guns. Anyway, Will, what you think about season finale of Loki and the things that Marvel has on deck for us starting in August with 10 rings?
Oh, man, I think they hit a home run with this one, man. By far, like out of all the shows that they had so far on Disney Plus, in the MCU, I'd say this season finale was probably my favorite episode out of all of them. And like, I don't know, I'm hearing some complaints about Jonathan Majors' character at the end of Loki and how he was acting. And what people got to realize is that's not Kang. That was a variant of Kang. The real Kang is about to show up now since y'all killed this one off. And y'all don't want to. Oh man, bruh. Like, yeah. I don't think they're ready for this one. This Kang is ruthless. He's the baddest of the bad. You thought you had problems with Thanos. Now you really got problems. You know what I'm saying? But overall, I liked his introduction, to the MCU. And like Deontay was saying, they may have canceled Lovecraft Country, but this dude came in swinging. He was like, all right, bet. Y'all want to cancel me? Y'all can't cancel Kane. Y'all can't cancel me. I'm here. And I'm here to stay. What are you talking about?
Denzel and Training Day. I put cases on all you bitches.
King Kong ain't got nothing on me. No, make that Thanos. Hey, he came in. This man came in.
100%.
Hey, he need an award for that acting, though. He needs an award for that acting. And,
so I do got a question for y'all, real quick, though.
I got questions.
Did y'all see this coming? Did y'all know that the season? Did y'all predict that the season finale would introduce Kang?
I'm not gonna say like I predicted it, like, but there were signs. there were hints and there were clues that that's what they were alluding to toward the end of Loki, and you have to have like eagle vision to spot these little subtle hints and things throughout the whole season. But I guess it's for the real diehard fans, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So.
Yo, real quick, shout out to David Fitzmaurice, aka Jedi, been here watching, throwing the comments in. What's up, man? He's in here saying that he thought it could be Kang, but he didn't think that they would go that route. So
yeah,
I don't like. I'm not as well. Let's ask Jackie first because she just jumped in. You just said you just finished watching it today or yesterday, Jackie?
It was today.
She had to cram that homework in.
So, how did you feel about the series?
So,
and how it ended.
When I was watching the finale, like halfway through it, I had to pause the actual episode because I'm like, all right, this kind of slow. This it? Because I feel like this is supposed to be 50 minutes long. Like, what's going to happen at the end of this video or this episode? Because I'm like, this is not about to explain everything and actually end the whole thing. I didn't know if they were actually planning on doing a season 2 or not. So that's why I was like, we're already like more than halfway done. I'm kind of confused what they're planning on doing at this point. And so then I kept on going. I mean, I'm not going to lie, with that season finale, like the whole Loki series with them like showcasing Loki as a whole being a narcissistic, like bisexual character, right? Like made sense. It totally makes sense to how Loki is because he is very narcissistic. And the fact that he ends up falling in love with himself even makes more sense. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Like this is pretty legit. And getting to like the series end to where she was so worried about him betraying her, and then at the end she ends up betraying him in a way to like be like, nope, get out of here, and pushes him back to the TVA, which I was like, that makes sense. Like he gets betrayed by his own self. Like, yep, makes sense. And then it just like, it's him trying to be like, yo, we gotta take care of this shit. All this shit's happening. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, yo, yeah, we do. And at this point I didn't pause it, so I didn't know how much time we had left. And then they were like, who are you? I was like, wait, what? What is going on right now? And then he turns and looks, and it sees that like he who remains is now the leader of this area that he's in. Yeah. And that it's like he's in a whole different timeline at this point is kind of what I got out of that, is he's in a whole different timeline, which one of his selves is leading this other area that he's in. I was like, yo, and then it just fucking ended. I'm like, wait a second. Hold on a second, what? And then, so one of the things at Disney Plus, what I've been doing, and this is what WandaVision, I did it on WandaVision also, is I would not fast forward, but like as soon as it ended, it got to the credits, I'd fast forward because Disney Plus doesn't let you get to the next episode until you get to a certain part of the credits. Yeah. So WandaVision, it did it like 2 episodes where like, as you fast forward, there was other credits that or other scenes that you could watch before it went to the final credits. So I did the same thing on Loki just in case. And like this one had like a quick snippet and it was just a case file that said it will return in season 2. I was like, well, thank God, because that explained absolutely nothing. Like explained some, but I was just like, what is, we just ended that we're in a new timeline and it's clearly his other self. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh my God, dude. I was like, this was like, the season finale was, I'm not going to lie, it was really slow leading up to the last half of the first half of the episode was pretty like action packed, was pretty good. But the last half of the episode was pretty slow. And that's where I was like, is this really gonna, because again, like I'm thinking in my head, this is just season 1. This is all they're gonna do, and it's just gonna end. I didn't think there was gonna be a season 2. So I'm like, why is this going so slow? And then when it ended just like that, I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense having season 2. So I think that they ended it very perfectly. I think they ended it in a way that's like, I want more now. It makes sense that you ended it this way before we get to now this new timeline with what you guys talk about King. I did not read the comics. So when you talk about true fans, Will, like, unfortunately, I'm not a full true fan when it comes to comics. When you talk about manga and anime, I can say I'm a true fan when it comes to some of that shit. When it comes to comics, when it comes to the Marvel, like, there's only some comics that I've read with some series. Like I read comics on Spider-Man, I read some comics on Superman, but I didn't read a lot of comics when it comes to like the Loki side of the house. So I didn't really know who this dude was that popped up. I'm not gonna lie, like the whole time before leading up to it, I was waiting for it to be some other type of character. When they were trying to figure out who the Loki was, I was thinking that it was going to be some other type of character. Like I was just thinking it's going to be this twist that we're going to be like, oh shit, it's this person this whole time. But really it was just something else. And so I didn't really know too much about Kang and who that was. And that it's this dude that is like a huge villain of the multiverse. That's actually a big factor when it comes to time. So at the end of the season, like I'm sitting here like, bro, like, and you know what makes the most sense is now like watching, since I watched Avengers Infinity Wars and Avengers Endgame, it makes sense now why Loki all of a sudden kind of had a different type of personality. If you guys remember, like where he decided to like, let me do this thing. Like the way that he accepted that he was going to die by Thanos anyways, like it makes sense now why he started doing the things that he did after this like sequence, because he clearly saw that future when he was in this season. But and like, because even like I remember watching Avengers, I forget when his mom died. I don't know if it was Infinity Wars or Endgame. His mom actually died. I can't remember. It's been a while since I went back.
Was it Ragnarok? I think
it was Ragnarok. Yeah, it was Ragnarok. Sorry. So it makes sense why now when I think back about that scene, he was so, when he made that decision to tell the dudes to go left instead of right, he was so, if you guys remember watching the movie for the first time before watching Loki, he was like accepting that that's what he had to say, which I think is going to make a lot more sense when we watch the rest of this like show. But yeah, it was really good. It like really showcased Loki's personality. I liked that they brought all these other Lokis into it and like how they ultimately had like in a way the same personality towards the end, just like he did, or some of them did. It just made a lot of sense. And his whole thing was like, I'm the supreme Loki, like meaning like he's gonna like be the strongest. But then in a weird way, the way that Marvel does their things, he ended in a way like I still see him as like the supreme Loki, because one of the things that the Loki said when he showed up to the Void was that you're different. Like, because immediately how he was thinking and what he wanted to do was different than any of the other Lokis when they showed up there. Like, it was already different. So he's already a totally different Loki compared to the others on that specific timeline. So I'm really excited to see what now happens, because she decided to like get in her feels and her emotions and kill the fucking dude and start a whole multiverse war. So what I hope is that because this whole shit is happening, is that because the multiverse is like going into a chaotic like war, that they start bringing some of the actual Avengers into play, aka like why is his name Dr.
Strange.
Thank you, Doctor Strange. I wanted, for some reason, want to say Dr. Time. Doctor Strange, thank you. If they actually got like, why do I want to say that? Like, if they bring Doctor Strange into this now, because clearly this is affecting the timeline. So why the fuck is Doctor Strange not showing up being like, hello, I've seen 4 billion, aka different type of timelines. What the fuck are y'all doing? You know, which some of y'all, if you read the comics, you probably already know. I don't. I haven't read the things, but that's what I'm hoping will start happening. That Marvel starts doing as they start bringing in the other Avengers into this MCU side quests that they are starting to do in Disney Plus, and I think that they're doing the right things. I think that they're like I said, I just binge watched WandaVision yesterday, and now I binge watched Loki, and like I made it 3/4 of the way through fucking what's it called? Which the next subject we're going to talk about, which I end up spoiling myself anyways. I started looking up like the synopsis of Black Widow because I wasn't going to finish it before I can come on here. So I'm like, fine, I'll watch the rest of it after we talk about it. I'm okay because I already have my own opinions 3/4 of the way with the movie. So
yeah.
The last quarter of it is not really going to change how I feel about the 3/4 of it, which we'll get to it. But I think that what Marvel's doing with these shows and these episodes on Disney Plus is it's like side stories again, what Marvel does best with all these like it all connects and just things that like, oh, this is why this happened or this, so they're doing but like just that, like all the things that I get like connected to it.
Keep going.
Yeah. I agree, Jedi. So that's the one thing, and you know what, like, and that's the one thing that, like, when at the end of the day, when she didn't come back to be like, all right, I'll just go with what this different Loki decides to do. She looked at him, she's like, I'm sorry. But instead of killing him, which is what, you guys know this, Loki mostly does to get rid of his problems. He just gets rid of the problem. She just said, I'm going to still save you in a way, which to me is still a growth of her character. She's just going to take it upon herself and then deal with whatever comes. So that's the other thing too. Like, I'm wondering what's happened to her now after this happened, because it doesn't show. So I don't know what happened while she's still now sitting in this void and she killed him. Like, what comes from that? What would be really cool, which again, I don't know if it explained this in the comics because I haven't read it, is if that bracelet was still sitting there. Like, it wasn't gone. It didn't go away before they switched to Loki. So what would be interesting is just she got a hold of that bracelet, and so she somewhat still has the power of it, and now she is a focal point of trying to now fix and defeat these other Kangs that are now trying to destroy the entire timeline, and now he has to help her do that in some way. So. Sorry, I talked a really long time.
No, you good.
No, sorry. I am working on my listening because Jackie pointed out last week I'd be interrupting people. So I'm gonna let everybody talk
one time.
because
I just did it one time, and I just wanted to give you shit for it.
I actually wanted to point out something. Because I know a lot of people don't know the history of Kang. He's actually like the predecessor of Reed Richards. His actual name is Nathaniel Richards. So and there's a lot of places they can go with Kang. They can introduce I think the Young Avengers. He was also Iron Lad. He had took up the mantle of Iron Man. I don't know if it was later on down the timeline or but just a little neat to know.
Yep. when they acquired the licenses to X-Men, I was like, you gotta do multiverse stuff now, because now you bringing in. They got Fantastic Four too, right? They got everything back from Fox.
Yeah,
all the Marvel shit back from Fox. Okay, now we about to see some shit. We about to see some shit. I do want to see a decent Fantastic Four movie, but you know that's wishful thinking.
I don't know, man.
When I watched Loki, the biggest thing I took away from that is. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. Sorry.
You said you read them? All right.
Well, so when
I was just gonna say, seeing Loki develop because.
Sorry, yours is delayed. Your video is delayed. I say sorry, and you'll say go ahead. So I'm like, oh, okay, but then you start talking, and I'll start talking, and then it's like weird. Your video is delayed.
Technology shit.
I'm sorry. I'm now going to shut
but
up.
Go ahead, Jackie. You said you found something
your
online.
Video catches up.
No. You said you found something online. Go ahead and read it.
So I didn't I kept reading on Facebook and kept talking about the Kang, and I of course I was ignoring everything because I hadn't watched anything. So I was like, I don't know what the Kang is. So then I watched the show and I still never got the word Kang never came up. So I was just like, what is this Kang? So I had to look it up. I was like, what is this? So I finally looked it up. So it brings up what your point is, Willie. With the multiverse, it makes sense. I didn't know that at least if they mentioned in Fantastic Four, which the last time I watched Fantastic Four was years ago, and it was an awful movie.
Right.
But I don't know if they mentioned King the movie. I can't remember because it was long ago, but that's what they mentioned when I looked up was that Kang was one of the villains against the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, didn't know that. That's interesting. This is all coming together. So now we got Fantastic Four. Now we got fucking X-Men. Now we got Avengers. So now I'm like, now with all these time, with the timeline now branching off and doing all this random shit and all this multiverse, what if Marvel really wants to make this even more successful than it already is as a show, they should, because it's a multiverse, kind of like what you started alluding to, Willie, is bringing in some X-Men players, start bringing in maybe some Fantastic Four players, maybe start, not everyone, but maybe onesies, twosies, and start helping Loki and the other female Loki to start doing something about this Kang multiples that are trying to destroy now all the universes, which would be fucking legit. It would be insane. And I don't know if Marvel's already thinking about that. I don't know if Marvel's no, we're just going to stick with Loki and just random people and just have a focus on him. I don't know. But what would be nice is that they maybe 85% focus on Loki and be let's bring in one Fantastic Four and let's bring in one X-Men, especially since they're having Wanda Vision. They just ended WandaVision. There's a second season. So wouldn't it be nice if during her time that she's now trying to figure her shit out, that she randomly shows up to help Loki in her new, she's trying to figure out her powers. And with her also, she's also been fucking with the universe and shit and timelines within her own area that she somehow gets involved with. To me, that would make sense that she somehow shows up to do something about this because her powers literally can bend space and time. That's all I was going to say. Sorry. Now I'm done. I'll wait 10 seconds till your video catches up.
So we talk about WandaVision. The one thing that bothered me about WandaVision is they introduced Agatha with 2 episodes left, and if you go back and read up on that whole arc, Agatha is a major player in a lot of Marvel characters thing. Like, and then for her to just show up and everybody be like, "Oh shit!" And then 2 episodes later, Mom was like, "I'm the more superior witch." If rushed, and I think they only did because they were trying to get these other things out before the next phase of movies. Because if you kept Wanda there and all the stuff with Agatha, it would run into pushing the timeline back or whatever. But with Loki, he was like my least favorite character in the previous phase of movies. I'm just like, why do y'all keep fucking with this dude when all he does is fuck y'all over? Just leave this motherfucker alone. Leave him alone. Like every time Loki show up, he fucks some shit up, man. But I think it was it? I thought it was the Dark. What is it? The Dark World, the second Thor movie, where their mom dies because because he was captured, right? Because he was captured, and Thor went to go see him. To tell him they killed Mom. Remember?
Because the other parent died in Ragnarok.
No, the dad. It was the dad that turned into fairy dust. Odin the one that perished. And then the minute he perished, that's when Hela popped up, was like, "Damn, bitch, I'm here." So I think the mom is the one who died. And Thor came down to talk to Loki and be like, "Look at this shit. You let these elves over here." And he had that illusion like, "Why do I care? She's not my real mom. You guys kidnapped me from the Frost Giants, blah, blah, blah." And Thor left, and he brought that illusion down, and you could see how fucked up and upset he was at the mom dying. So that led me, and I'm just like, oh shit. This man he has the capacity to care for some shit. And all that did was build up into this one, because the Loki we see in the series is the Loki Battle of New York. So Dark World hasn't happened yet. So he's still out and about and all that stuff. In that first episode, when he sees like his mom die or Frigga die, and then he sees himself die, and and all these people die on that ship by the hand of Thanos, you could tell like, shit, maybe I need to do something different. And there's a couple episodes after that where you're just like, oh, he don't care. His whole plan was to get in front of the timekeepers and swindle them and end up being in charge of time and shit. But then like working with Sylvie throughout it, you could tell he's starting to care. And it was weird because we were talking about it before the show. Like, Loki, this is you. It's not you, but it's another version of you. And you're caring about her to this point. And when they get to the void, and you just see all the Lokis just betraying one another, boom, 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 like nobody can trust anybody. They get to the end, those two who have a connection to the point where they're about to start a super nexus event if they didn't get rescued off that planet or whatnot. I could see, because Sylvie can't trust anybody. She was abducted young by the time TVA, and her whole life was taken from her. So she's been on the run. She can't trust nobody. Loki is untrustable. Like, there's nobody who can trust Loki. Loki will betray anybody at anything. So you have the one who can't trust and the one who can't be trusted. And they're sitting there, and it's just like, I mean, you can't blame her. You cannot blame her, because there have been so many times where people have let their guard down around Loki, and he fucked them over. And she was like, she's like, if anybody's going to get fucked over, if anybody's going to get fucked over, it's because of me and the decision I make. I'm going to kill this dude and live with the decision, rather than trust you and then you betray me. So I don't blame her at all for doing it. At all. I can't see any way anybody can blame her. I will say I'm excited. Marvel knew what they were doing, because with the multiverse thing, so many more movies. You not upgrade, but I mean, you got to introduce the replacements for the current Avengers. So the old actors' contracts run out. You get these new young guys up in here, run them for another, phase, get them out, bring the next. You know what I'm saying? So they got Hollywood. Y'all hit man. DC. Where are y'all at, DC? Y'all see what I'm talking about? Come on, man. It's easy.
I don't want to talk about. I don't want to talk about DC
writes
right
itself.
now.
It writes itself. Comic book stuff, man. It writes itself because you never have to try to come up with an original thing. Like it's already laid out, storyboarded in comic books. Just do it.
Mm-hmm. But they even brought in
whole. Go ahead.
Sorry again. It ended, and I didn't know you kept on talking.
It lagged.
It lagged. So keep on going. I'll wait until you say, and I'm done, and then I'll start talking.
Go, Jackie. Go, Jackie.
Well, no, I was just surprised, like what Marvel is bringing in as like actors and actresses. Like they brought in Owen Wilson to act as one of the fucking like TVA members. And when I was like watching Loki, I was like, Owen Wilson? I was like, really? I was really surprised that they brought in. And I'm not gonna lie, he actually did a really good job. Like because I've always seen Owen Wilson as like a comedy, like that's it, just straight up romantic comedy or just comedy straight up. That's it. Like that's all. Like not a part of like a superhero like part movie or show or anything. And so when they brought Owen Wilson into it, I was like, okay, this is going to be pretty interesting. And he did a really good job. I'm not going to lie. Like his character, like the way that he did it, the seriousness, he threw in his little bit of comedy, which, Marvel always throws in comedy with a lot of their skits that they do. But they did a really good job. And the chick that they had casted as the female Loki, she did amazing. Honestly, like I thought that she did a really good job, like with acting as. Huh?
So I'm trying to find her name. You can go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know what her name is. I have to look it up. Oh, I have actually Loki cast up right now. Sorry. Her name is Sophia Di Martino. Yeah, and like the other chick, she looked familiar. The one that was like, she's not the head honcho, but she was the head honcho of like being the closest to know everything. She looked familiar. I didn't know. I was like, what are you, like, what else have you been in? Because she looked super familiar. And I didn't know what it was, but honestly, like everything that I looked up in that she's a part of, I'm like, I haven't found it. Like until I think it was, and this is going to be really funny. It was the Beauty and the Beast. That's what it was. It was like, she was like one of those side characters that was like randomly there. And I hadn't looked up the actual scene that she was in, so I have to look it up. And she was in Beauty and the Beast. But she looked really familiar. I'm like, why does she look so familiar? She's a really familiar face. But the actors and the actresses that they casted, like, I thought did like a really good job with Loki. And I honestly like kind of what you were saying, Will, like with the chick and like what she like plans to do and how she like ended to the very end, it makes complete sense.
Right.
Yeah.
So I do.
So Marvel.
Oh yeah. Are we
I was going to go to the next topic.
I do have one final
we
thought for Loki.
Okay, go ahead.
I'll go after you.
I do got to take my hats off for Marvel's talent. The way that they do business time and time after again is off the chain. Like the way that they introduced Thanos was cool and all. Like he had a cutscene at the end of one of the movies, and I'm like, I guess I gotta go do it myself. And I was like, damn, I guess I'll settle for that. But the way that they introduced Kang was nuts. Like they opened the door, and we all know through announcements that Jonathan Majors was going to be Kang. And then as soon as Loki and Sylvie open the door, there's Jonathan Majors right there. So we see him, was like, oh shit, it's Kang, dude. I'm waiting for him to formally introduce himself or do some Kang type shit. And fucking Sylvie's like, just who are you? And this motherfucker teases us. He was like, well, I go by many names. I go by the ruler, the conqueror. Bitch, say Kang. Say fucking Kang. I want to hear it. I want to lose my fucking mind when he says his own fucking name on TV and this dude teased. I had blue balls watching that episode. I was like, that dialogue alone. Oh my God. Say Kang. Say it. Say it, motherfucker. Say it. They keep attacking him and he's like dodging their attacks and like, oh shoot, this dude's OP as fuck. And this dude's like, yeah, no, I just don't. I can technically see the future. I have a list of everything you're going to do to me. So that's why I'm dodging all your attacks before they happen. And the dialogue just gets even crazier from there. And the dude's just like, all right, I can't predict the future anymore because the timeline stops. Now's your chance to take over the TVA or kill me. Which one do you want to do? Might I warn you that I have variants that are really, really nasty motherfuckers. And the reason I'm here in the first place is because they already started a multiverse war. And I'm trying to avoid that happening again. Sylvie's like, fuck that. I don't like people playing on my phone. And then they fucking stabbed his ass. And in his last words, he could have said anything in the fucking English language. This dude says,
see you next time, or see you soon.
I'll see you soon. And that gave me goosebumps for a fucking lifetime. This dude doesn't even introduce himself. He goes by He Who Remains the entire time. Well, basically he is, because that's the variant he is. And dude just teases around Kang the Conqueror. He doesn't just flat out drop the ball on us yet. And then fucking when he dies, he's just like, all right, I'm glad you made the choice that you made, because I'm going to wind up right back here and you guys are going to wind up where the fuck you end up. And it's just like, wow. Sylvie just at that moment, Sylvie knew that she fucked up.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, dude, like all these Nexus events, one after the other. It's like Doctor Strange is going to have some major cleaning up to do. And if you see like the Phase 4 lineup for all the movies coming out, like you're going to see Kang again in Multiverse of Madness, the second Doctor Strange movie, and you're going to see Kang again in the new Ant-Man movie, which makes sense because originally Kang is a Fantastic Four, Iron Man, and Ant-Man villain, but he also is a big bad. So he's dealt with other heroes. So when you see him all throughout the MCU, don't be surprised. Like that dude's a huge fucking deal. And because of Sylvie's decision, somebody's got to go. So I applaud Loki. Like a lot of people complain about the series up until the season finale. I applaud the whole season. Like season 1 was a fantastic job, and they definitely deserve the season 2.
So one thing I wanted to mention too was I thought it was pretty ironic, and there was a lot of foreshadowing in this season that she refused to take the name Loki. She refused to take it, and she wanted to be known as Sylvie. And the fact, and this Facebook user, I haven't looked at Facebook yet to see who commented that, saying that they thought that her Nexus event was the fact that she was supposed to kill who was like He Who Remains. I thought, and I started thinking about this when you started talking about Lifter, and then that person commented, like like the fact that she refused to be known as Loki and be called as Sylvie is like it was already foreshadowing that she was going to change everything that was supposed to be, because she was already trying to say, I am not known as Loki, like I am Sylvie. And like in a way that to me already, like looking back on it now and like talking about this now in a way is like, even if Marvel is like, no, that's not a foreshadowing of that, it was nothing. To me, in a way it is because like all the other Lokis, what did they refuse to do? They refused to try and change anything. They just wanted to like keep the timeline the way that it is. But she was the only one who was named differently or took a different name that was like, no, fuck this. And decided to do a different approach. And she did what she did as Sylvie, and that was kill the dude that was literally the one who was in charge of the timeline. So I think that's pretty ironic and kind of foreshadowing in a way that she did that. Also, she was the only female Loki. So, I guess Will wants to say something. All right, Will.
No, I mean, y'all can't see me. And I'm up here like, time. Can I say something? Like,
I can't see you. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah. I got my camera off, but I was just before we move on, I was just gonna say, there's like now that she's done that, and like Victor was saying, man, I was screaming at the top of my lungs when she did that. Like, I wasn't expecting her to do that. Like, I was expecting it to go a different way and then branch out like that. But I was like, this goddamn female, why would you do this? Why would you do this? And she stabbed him. I was like, you selfish bastard. Like, why? Like, why would you do this? But, it's a good thing that she did do it, because now there's a million possibilities for the characters that are going to be introduced, and the story that's going to be written. You know what I'm saying? So, like, man, we especially since
Black man.
Here's a weird question. Before we move on to the next subject, what do you guys think would have happened if Loki and Sylvie never got picked up when what was it? Xemnas the First was going through that apocalypse when the moon was crashing into that planet, and it caused an event, like it caused a Xemnas event. Like, what do you think would have happened if they never would have got picked up?
Man.
I'd say anything. We probably wouldn't have Kang. We probably wouldn't have Kang at that point. Like, I'd say if Marvel was wanting to go a different direction as far as storylines go, without Loki, I can see a lot of events that Loki was involved in that if you removed him from it, that butterfly effect would happen. And I would say if Kang wasn't the big bad for Phase 4 MCU, I would say it'd be Doctor Doom right now.
Yeah,
they Marvel would put all their money into bringing out the best Fantastic Four reboot, and then having Doctor Doom come in and the guy that they hired to be him be permanent, and instead of grabbing nobodies who, like, we're going to reboot Fantastic Four again 4 years from now. Like, damn it, bro! Like, I'm tired of this, bro. I want a permanent Johnny Storm. I want a permanent thing. I want a permanent all of them. Yeah. But Kevin Feige himself, he said they're trying to do away with long-term contracts once and for all. So I don't know how this is going to go, because once Phase 4 is done, it's like, who's going to be who? And and my last little note on that is just like, since Kang was a huge problem for Iron Man, are they going to recast Tony Stark? Or are they going to, as Robbie, or they're going to recast Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark? Or are they just going to leave Iron Man alone and go completely non-canon for this? For him to lose.
What I will say about that, that's why I was talking about. That's what I was talking about earlier about the other variant of Kane, who actually picked up the mantle of Tony Stark as Iron Man, and he became Iron Lad. So I really think they could do something like that if they don't recast Tony Stark, or somehow bring back Robert Downey Jr., which I don't think they'll. It's not really likely they'll do, but it's a possibility. But they could use Jonathan Majors in so many ways. There's so many variants that they can do with Jonathan, and I would really like to see them introduce Iron Lad, which is a very, like, that storyline is really, it's a really good storyline. How it happens and how he became Iron Lad. So I could see them doing something like that.
Yeah, Robert Downey Jr. was the greatest Tony Stark we'll ever know, and the only Tony Stark we'll ever know. So the only way we can go forward from that is introducing Iron Lad, because ain't no more Iron Man. Like, even War Machine, like James Rhodes, his spinoff is dropping next year on Disney Plus in 2022. They're not even thinking about like a new Tony Stark. They're trying to move forward. So that's a good ordeal, but they're going to have an alternative solution to deal with Kang the Conqueror.
Yeah,
because that motherfucker is a genius, a straight genius, and not even a decent level genius. He's like top 10 for Marvel.
Yeah, top 5.
Top 5.
Cool. We ready to talk about a not so, I don't want to say not so great, because I don't want people to think that I don't like all movies, because people assume I hate movies. I don't know where to get that idea from. But last week, Marvel came back in theaters and released Black Widow, delayed a year because of COVID and all that other stuff. But I saw it on Saturday. I didn't feel either kind of way about it. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good. There's one big flaw that really upset me about the movie. But before I get into that, I want to just check everybody here. So I know, Jack, you said you're like 3/4 of the way through. But everybody else saw it, right? Black Widow?
I'm 1/4 of the way through.
Like,
oh my God.
I seen it, but I don't remember.
I'm the only one that's
I'm so sorry. Like,
well,
look,
Will, if you've seen it, go ahead. You go first.
I just said I don't remember it.
Uh-oh.
This man.
You want me to talk about it? I'll talk about it.
You can talk about it, and I'll just,
if you want, you go first,
back.
Willie. I'll give my opinions that I might be similar to yours afterwards.
So, coming into this movie, I wasn't expecting a lot, because we all know she's dead, right? Everybody saw Endgame.
Yeah.
We know she died. She ain't around. So this takes place in between Civil War and Infinity War, and it's a cute little story. It's it's a nice little onesie off to the side thing. Trying to explain her origins in a bit, and then it fast forwards up to current time. And the one thing I will say is that I am so mad at how they did Taskmaster in this movie.
Yeah.
I am fully upset at how they wrote, how they introduced Taskmaster, who is by far one of the coldest motherfuckers in Marvel.
Supposed to be.
And had him played out. This gonna be a spoiler, but it ends up being old boy's daughter, who was assumed to have been dead in an explosion. And in the comics, Taskmaster is a dude who was born in New York, Tony Masters, I think.
Yeah, Tony.
Who has this unbelievable gift of photographic memory. He can watch you fight, and then he'll understand and can use your fighting style or whatever skills you got and all this stuff. He can copy whatever the fuck it is he sees. And the trailer, when they brought him in, I'm just like, because in the comics, he is fucking with Spider-Man. He's fucking with numerous motherfuckers. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Numerous people. He low-key trained US agent. Like he is around in Marvel. And for them to be like, Taskmaster is just my daughter. And then at the end of the movie, like they cure his daughter. So now Taskmaster is no more. So I'm just like, well, what the fuck, man? Why even introduce? They just needed a villain for this movie that really, I think Marvel made after the fact they saw how successful Wonder Woman was. Because I read an article somewhere where they were wanting to push this Black Widow movie out earlier. But somebody in Marvel thing was just like, I don't know, women's superhero movies really ain't gonna make as much money than Wonder Woman banked. And then they were just like, let's go with these women's superhero movies. I don't know. It was okay. I liked her sister in this one. I forget her name in it, but
Yelena.
the sister in this one. Yes. I love the sister in this one. I like the chemistry between Natalia and her sister throughout the movie. I wasn't a fan of old buddy from Stranger Things as the Red Soviet or whatever.
Guardian.
I think that was not needed.
Russian, American. Gosh darn it,
Captain America.
Thank you.
Yeah, but he didn't even really get to do anything. The mom was there, you know, it was cool. It was an okay movie. It's probably going to make money because it's Marvel and it's back in the theaters and nobody's been in the theater in a while. But I feel like if this movie was released sequentially when it was supposed to be, it would have did better. I probably would have liked it better, but I mean, for her being dead, and then you're just like, well, here's Black Widow. Like, I guess, thank you, but I am super pissed that Taskmaster has been introduced and then kicked out of the Marvel universe that fast. Pissed me off.
Yeah, they did him wrong, man.
They killmongered him. They
did him wrong.
The Killmonger was he was supposed to be a fool too.
He deserved much more than that.
Fool.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what I'm more pissed off about as I'm watching this movie, because obviously I'm watched 3/4 of it now, and I had to pause it so I can come to this podcast. At this point, I didn't even care what the ending was, because a part of me was like, when you make a movie about Black Widow, I'm like, okay, I'm hoping that I know about her backstory, like why she became the way that she became. So instead, they gave me a really quick synopsis in 30 fucking seconds with some clips of her going through whatever she went through. And then all of a sudden, boom, she's like trying to find or she's running away, and then she gets these fucking vials and you're really confused at this point because you don't know where you're at in the timeline until she says she's trying to stay undercover because she's running away. So you're like, okay, Civil War, got it. And then she's trying to find her sister in Budapest, which is the place that she refused to never go back to. So I'm sitting here like, okay, I'm now like really confused. So you were a child with these people who were apparently your parents, which you find out afterwards they were never her parents, right? And you're sitting here like, okay, cool. Now all of a sudden she's fighting her sister, which agree with you, Willie. I actually really like the actress that was cast as her sister or whatever. Like I think she was really great. Her feelings and how she felt about how she grew up was 100% made sense. But then you got fucking Scarlett Johansson over here acting as the Black Widow. Just the way that it was. I agree with Willie. Like, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't good. I was really upset. I was actually expecting that Marvel was going to come out with a movie that explained why Black Widow became why she was known as Black Widow. Not this like, hey, let me give you a really quick synopsis of like some scenes in the beginning that like you can't really get a hold of, but like you can kind of understand. And I'm just going to get to this scene and this new story that we're creating. What they should have done, in my opinion, is like, if you remember watching, what was that horror film with the ballerina, and it was like she got her, when she was getting her cuticles cut, and they accidentally
Black Swan.
Black Swan, thank you.
Black Swan.
Oh shit!
But it actually went into detail of how she became. I never seen the movie. I only know this because of what people.
What?
What?
I don't like scary movies. Don't like scary movies. Don't watch them. However, I only know about them because I will look them up and I'll just figure out what they're about and like from other people tell me, and that's how I know about them. So they actually go into detail about how she became like the ballerina that she is and all this shit. And it goes into this long synopsis. What I think that Marvel should have done instead to actually do Black Widow justice, they should have put this into 2 movies. They should have had one movie be about her actual backstory. Like, this is her getting, like, her mom abandoning her, right? Paying her off, doing all this shit, all whatever. She gets not kidnapped, but whatever. She gets now brought into this new family, which is not her real family. Go through all that shit, then go through, like, the shit that she went through to become an assassin and a spy, and then how she eventually like got out of there, became an Avenger, the villains or the people that they like dealt with. Yes, whoever just said that, I can't say it, just this Facebook user, but they should have just done that until she eventually got to the Avengers, and then she met them. So the villain could have been like literally her escaping from the place that she was from, which makes sense as a fucking villain, which is the Red Room, and how she thought that she killed them, which is whatever. Like, they should have gone through all of that, her eventually getting to the Avengers, and then the next movie could have then been her post-Civil War being like, here I am, I'm now going on the run and meeting my sister and all these people we already introduced. And now it's going through this whole other thing of her finally destroying the Red Room that we already introduced in the first fucking movie. But then it could have been more. In my opinion, ever since I've been watching it, I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, this isn't too bad. But for some reason, this movie is called Black Widow, but I don't feel like it's all about Black Widow. It's like you're focusing more on her sister and her feelings. And then like Black Widow just chimes in with like her, hey, I'm not here to like have some emotions. Like, I'm here to fucking find the Red Room. Where is it? I'm like, okay. So fine, like I'm a huge fan of Black Widow. I was so for this fucking movie. I was so excited for this because I'm like, I want to find out her backstory. I want to find out all this shit, what made her who she was. Because in my opinion, when it comes to the Avengers, like all these dudes have superpowers, but she's one of the sneakiest, one of the strong, like in my opinion, even though she's just a civilian, she's just a spy, and that's what she was taught to do. She has done so much as an Avenger, just being her and no superpowers. Like, so I'm like, I can't wait to learn about her backstory on this end and how she came to be. And then I get this movie and I'm like, oh, so I got a 30-second fucking quick video of her being given up. And then all of a sudden now I feel like we're rushing. I don't know how you felt, Willie, but I felt like it was rushing. Like we're rushing through this. All right, now I found my sister. I got her. Now let's go pick up my fake dad. Oh, we got him. Now we're having dinner with our fake mom, which was really weird in my opinion. Like that whole scene just was weird and awkward, which I get it's supposed to be, but it was more weird and awkward with the way that they led to it. I don't know. The movie for me, I'm like, yes, the graphics and the fighting scenes and the action so far, what I've seen are good. But to me, like the way that they've been, I don't know. And whoever just commented saying that she's going to be the next Black Widow, great. Then what they should have done is, again, like I said, 2 fucking movies. The first movie giving us what we want because we never got what we wanted, which was who Natasha was, because she died and then we never got anything. Iron Man died, we got this huge funeral and everyone was really upset about it because Natasha got nothing. And I agree with it. Like we got this whole thing with Iron Man. Don't be wrong, Iron Man's one of my favorite Marvel superheroes, but I still wanted something with Black Widow, but we gave nothing at the end of Endgame. So Marvel's whole thing was that they wanted to at least do something for her, so that's why at the end of the movie they did like some kind of like fucking thing with their sister, which I still think was just like, hey, we're just gonna do this because. So what they should have done is then given a first half movie of like, why is Natasha the way that she is? This is her backstory. And then the second movie is then giving like, here's now, like in a way, fuck Natasha. Here's now her sister's coming of age to eventually become Black Widow because we already gave you what you wanted with Natasha and her backstory and whatever happened. Now we're giving you Natasha, but we're not going to focus on her sister because that's ultimately who's going to become Black Widow. That's what they should have done. And I don't know. Personally, as so far, I'm not liking it. And that's really upsetting because I really like Black Widow. She's one of my favorites. And it's okay. It's an okay movie. It's okay. That I feel as Willie did when it came to like Tomorrow War. I just like
not bring that up.
I'm not okay about it. It's fast paced. I don't like it. I don't know. I don't know.
Timothy out here playing Pokemon.
We don't talk about the Tomorrow War on this. Oh, that's what is the event still going on?
The event ended around 6, but this motherfucker's still at it. I'm looking right at him right now. That motherfucker gotta catch them all. Timothy at it right now, boy. Boy, you don't get your ass on this podcast.
Jackie, that's a good point, though. I agree. That's what I thought this was like an origin story of her coming up through the Red Room and then leaving it initially to get with the Avengers. So like a pre-Avenger movie, because everybody kind of had their own origin story besides her and Hawkeye. But Hawkeye is going to get this whole spin-off on Disney Plus, where I think he's about to hand the mantle over to Kate Bishop. I think is the plan of this series to have her kind of take over Hawkeye when the next phase comes out. So it was just a movie that didn't need to be made. I don't think there was a demand for Black Widow. I know Kaylee, he posted in here. Shout out to Kaylee watching. They had a whole year. You delayed it. You could have made some changes to it, did something to it to make it more meaningful for the movie to mean something. Because all you did was this is the next Black Widow. Cool. The end credit scene where old girl Valentina, the chick from whoever, Julie Marie Dreyfus. I forget her actor's name, but she comes over and she's just like, "Hey, I want to know if you want to know who's responsible for your sister's death, so you can go take care of him for me." And she was like, "Cool." And she showed a picture, and it was a picture of Clint Barton. So I'm just like, maybe this rolls into the Disney Plus series. Yep. So there you go. So we'll see how that comes out. I don't know if that end credit scene is going to save the movie. It didn't do anything for me at all. It was just, I felt the same way leaving Captain Marvel, like just underwhelmed. Like, I mean, but Captain Marvel made sense because at the end of Infinity War, you had the Captain Marvel, the symbol on the pager. So a lot of people are like, "What the fuck is that?" So you have to throw a cap because, like, there's no way you could have just had this broad come through in Endgame and wash Thanos' whole army by herself, and motherfuckers not be like, "Who the fuck is this? And where the fuck she been at?" You know. So you had to throw that Captain Marvel movie out there. You know, you had to throw Captain Marvel out there. Black Widow, this was not needed. This was not needed, and it was a money grab. They just had it on their shelf. They were like, "Let's throw this out here, see what happens." It'll make money.
Dust. We gotta do something with it.
And hopefully they just move on. They
You
just
know
move
what
on.
they could have
But
done?
Taskmaster, they did him dirty. That's my biggest gripe.
They really did,
so
bro.
my thing with it is I'm sitting here like y'all like one thing you mentioned is you're like, "Oh, I don't think that there was a like
Demand.
Thank you, to like have this movie." There actually kind of was. A lot of people were upset about Black Widow's death at the end of Endgame, and that at the end of it, they all focus on Tony Stark and not her, which I think was Marvel's intent because they were going to do something, but I don't know exactly what they were planning because the end of the credit scenes, which again, like obviously I haven't watched the whole movie, but I looked forward anyways because I had to be a part of this podcast, so I had to look forward it. I was like, okay, so that is the way that you give us her death scene. It's just that, oh, her sister just shows up and says, "Who killed her?" To me, it's like, no, because Black Widow was a huge part of the Avengers. She was a huge like piece that a lot of people were fans of. And like, you can't just like end it at the end. No, she was like, are you kidding me? You think that Hawkeye, everyone was like, yeah, cool, Hawkeye, bet. But everyone was like, whenever Black Widow decided to destroy some shit when she does not have fucking powers, people were fucking like, yes, thank you, please. Oh my God, fuck yes. Like every time she came out of nowhere and destroyed some shit when she don't even have fucking powers, especially with the mind that she has, because of what she's been taught, because of what she's been tortured to be taught, like she was exceptional. So in my opinion, what they should have done is instead of create a fucking movie, they should have done what they did with Loki, what they did with the Winter Soldier and fucking WandaVision. They should have just created a season on fucking the Black Widow, her life, and then ended that season with showing who the next Black Widow was going to be. And then that would have made sense. And then that could have totally played into everything that they're trying to do right now with the Loki shit, with the multiverse and all this other shit, and or in the future, whatever they wanted to do. That's what they should have done. They should have focused on Natasha in the beginning, her as a child, going through the episodes, everything. That's what they should have done. But instead, they put in a movie, which is fine. But then the movie they decided to make, which is what I think looking in the Facebook messages, that's what Jedi said. The one thing he said is, I don't think we needed 2 movies, just a good origin story, which I do agree with him also. Like, fine, if we don't have 2 movies, that's fine. But then at least have a good fucking origin story. You didn't. You just put it at the very fucking beginning for 30 seconds and then just moved her to being like, all right, I'm just going to show up to Budapest and, hey, sister, how are you doing? I don't trust you. Like, it was just weird. It was so fast-paced. It was like everything was happening 2 seconds later. It just didn't chronologically make sense in the movie. It was just, I don't know.
And can I tell y'all something?
Go ahead.
This whole time, I've been sitting here and I was looking at Deontay. And why you want to look like Jonathan Majors, bro?
Huh?
What?
Huh?
Like, he reminds me of Jonathan Majors, bro.
The guy behind what?
This whole time y'all been talking, this is all I've been focusing on. Like, why this nigga look like Kane?
That's racist.
But no, like, I mean, look at him. Okay.
Bro, tripping.
I'm so sorry, bro.
Racist ass.
Look, man, you can't look at him and be like, if you put a helmet on him, like, he can cosplay as Kane right now, bro. Tell me he wouldn't be a good
He's a variant. He said he's a variant.
All right, I'm done, man.
Jeez.
Oh my god, bro.
So let us move on to another topic, which this whole brand, the whole thing, everything having to do with Resident Evil, as of late, has just been disappointing, and it's been like this for many years. So Resident Evil has been given new life by Netflix in this 6-episode arc called Infinite Darkness. I watched it. It took me a couple of days. I was not impressed at all by it. The story, the plot, they brought characters back from previous games. Yay. You know, they had Leon and Claire.
Yeah. Shout out to Capcom.
Shout out to Capcom.
What you think about it, Mac?
Look, I'm gonna just say this. It was not good. It's not worth a watch unless you're a diehard Resident Evil fan. The ending, I don't know if it was tying into like, ooh, another season's coming, but the ending was anticlimactic. The villain was weak. It was the most tired 6-episode run of anything I have seen in a while. And I am on episode 166 of Black Clover. So I know about slow moving stories. But
no,
I will just say, just if you want to make movies, Resident Evil movies, use the same animation you did for this because the animation was dope. I liked it.
yeah,
And
I
just
will say that.
do the games. Do the games as a movie. Use the plot from the game as a movie. And it's when you have a game that is very beloved. It already has a script. It has a plot. It has a storyboard. It has a setting. Just do that. Quit trying to do new shit because it's not. Nobody's here for that. Nobody is here for that. Deontay, you saw it, right? What you think?
The fact I was insulted by the fact that they called it a Netflix original anime. What fucking part of that was an anime? What motherfucking part was that? I get mad every time I log into Netflix and I see that shit. I'm like, don't recommend that shit to me. Anime. Nani? You on drugs? What the fuck? Hey, this is not anime.
Trash, man.
I've seen CGI series that originated from Japan, but this originated from fucking America. Excuse you, anime is not a word you should use when you market this shit. First of all, like you're using cutscenes from a motherfucking American-made video game. Yeah, this is a TV show with CGI. Don't call it anime. You wrong for that. A whole lot of Japanese people finna pull up to your house and slap the dog shit out of you for that. You out of pocket. You need to learn some table manners. I don't know if you even seen an anime at that point. A lot of Netflix original animes is not even close to anime.
No.
And Resident Evil is a prime example of that. It's just like, damn, man, like this is worse than the cutscenes from the video game. Who wrote this damn story? I ain't even make it past episode 2. I had to speed watch that shit, and I still wasn't like tuned in. I was on my phone with Timothy, like catching Pokemon and shit. I wasn't paying attention at all. It's almost like I damn near didn't watch the show at all. I was watching it, but I wasn't watching it. I was more interested in catching Mewtwo. I wasn't worried about what the fuck was going on with these zombies, man. These zombies I don't give a shit about Raccoon City anymore. I've seen Mila Jovovich like 8 times already. I don't need any more Resident Evil shit. It's it, like in those movies was all over the fucking place. I don't know.
Yeah, they didn't. No.
Oh my god.
When it comes to like video games that you decide that you want to fucking animate and shit, and like you want to make a show or you want to make a movie about, you can't sit there and make the animation worse than the fucking video game. You can't. If you do that, like, you lose your fucking audience. If the fucking video game is better than the animation that you produce, I can't help you, dude. Like, I can't help you, bro. Like, what do you want? Like, when we buy these video games and this fucking animation is like on par to like other shit, and then you produce something that is like subpar. What do you think's gonna make us want to watch your shit over just watching the cutscenes that we see in the fucking video game itself? We're not gonna. We might give you the, like you said, Litter, like we might give you the time of day of like episode 1 or 2, but after that we're like, fuck this. Like this is, well, I don't understand why Netflix continues to batch like anime in video games like this and think that it's okay and it's gonna be really great. Like I honestly, like, I'm not a producer, I'm not anything, but I wonder what these people think. Producer. No, shut up. So I wonder what these people think when they sit back after they like watch whatever they produced for the first episode or whatever it is that they created for this anime or video game, and they go,
"Don't call it anime.
This is really good." I really wish I could be there to be like, No, it's not. Like, what are you thinking? What are you doing? Like, what is happening right now, dude? You
Yeah, she
can't.
got the producer hat on and everything. Like she is in her producer chair right now.
No, bro. I'm just saying, like, I don't understand what's happening when it comes to. Yes, you are favoring the people who want this shit to become a thing, but at the same time, like, when you do this, like, you look like a dumbass.
Facts.
I laughed like probably the whole way through the whole quote unquote anime or whatever the freak it is. And because they had silly stuff like, oh, you have to figure this puzzle out. Like, nigga, if I wanted to play the game, I'd play the game. I'm here for the. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, why are you sitting? And then there's this one scene, like it's the funniest thing ever. Like you had Leon standing there in front of the main villain, and you know you're supposed to animate facial expressions, but this guy was telling Leon something really important, and I don't know. I don't know if it was supposed to be like shocking or whatever, but Leon just sat there like, huh. Oh, like straight face, no expression, just straight face, like Matt. He like how he's sitting right now, no expression. That's how Leon was looking at this dude, like, huh, really? Oh, that's important. Oh, I should do that. I'm like, this mother, like y'all couldn't even get that right. Y'all couldn't even animate a facial expression like this is so important. At least widen his eyes or like open his mouth a little bit. He had nothing. Nothing. Just blank. I'm like, this is trash.
What confuses me the most is when it came to The
It was a
Witcher,
wash.
they did a really good job with The Witcher. Why could you not do the same thing with Resident Evil? That's where I get confused. I'm like, so you did it right with The Witcher. Who did you put in charge to like go this way? I mean, not even like left. They went around. They took a roundabout. They didn't even do the roundabout the legal way. They just decided to go through the roundabout. Yeah. And everyone's like sitting there like, what the fuck? Because they're like, I have no idea what's going on. That's essentially like what happened with that. It's like, I don't know. I don't get it. And that to me, like, blows my mind. Like, did you just read all of the reviews and the comments you got on Witcher and you were like, yeah, that's really good. Fuck that. I'm going to go this way instead.
Fuck what they talking about over there.
Yeah. Like, what? I'm so confused.
Like Walking Dead is a prime example that you can do this correctly, and motherfuckers like, nah, fuck that. I don't like nobody playing on my phone. No, bro. Resident Evil is still a hit. You can make this live action or CGI, just don't follow in anime footsteps because that's Japan's shit. That's Japan's culture. You fucking appropriator. Leave that shit alone. If you're gonna do something American, do it live action and have a solid storyline.
Call it an anime.
Kelvin, Black Mac, thank you for coming out and supporting the show, man. But yeah, dude, freaking
appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
Yo, Resident Evil tripping out they motherfucking mind because I thought it was a movie at first when I logged into Netflix and started pressing play on it. And this shit was a whole season. I was like, oh, hell no.
That's the whole reason I was trying to get you to watch it. Just to get your, just to get this feedback. Like, I wanted to torture you.
Man, that movie. Who was it? You that originally that recommended?
It was weird, man. It was a weird watch. It was a weird watch. Like, I ain't gonna hold you. It was the story was flat, man. Like, I went from Black Widow and then came home, was like, let me try this Resident Evil. And it was just as flat. So I'm just like, I'm gonna be talking bad about two of these topics on this podcast, and everybody gonna be looking at me like, man, Willie doesn't like nothing. Willie's just a angry old man, bro. He don't like shit out here. I was trying to find shit. I was trying to find shit to like, man. I was trying to find shit to like, but I can't. If shit is fucked up, I'm gonna call it fucked up. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, like America. I'm sorry.
At his screen door, yelling at all the children, "Hey, get out my yard!"
Was it Emperor or was it Mike that recommended us to watch Resident Evil? Which one of those two did this? I know Mike talked about it.
I think I recommended it to you.
Well, but Mike is always talking about it in the group too. I was like, Mike, you really watched this and enjoyed it?
Man, set us up.
Listen, Resident Evil is it has a great storyline. It's a great video game. But
they could have did something with that.
Netflix, I don't know what's happening at Netflix. It's like they're like, hey, who's available Wednesday? And they're like, oh, Mike and Bobby and Jennifer are available. And Mike, Bobby, and Jennifer happen to be like the really great like people to like animate shit. And they're like, great, we're gonna do this. And then like on Thursday, it happens to be fucking like Tom, Billy, and fucking Savannah. And they're like, yeah, let's like take this one on. And then they animate that one, and it's like, what the fuck did you do, Savannah? And she's like, no, this is really great. Everyone's gonna love it. Everyone fucking hates it. And it's just like, what is happening? Why is no one taking feedback and applying it to their shit? It's just like they're taking random animators. They're just taking shit and they're saying, go forth and conquer. Let's see what happens. Because like that's what I see on Netflix. I see like it's like really great, and then they're like really awful. I'm like, why are you guys not taking your feedback? I don't understand what's happening.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Cocaine is
cocaine. Yeah.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug. You know, they somewhere off the headquarters doing lines in the office. Like in the Air Force people, we have 5 o'clock somewhere, so we turn on that beer light and start drinking. They turn on the Coke light and start doing lines and shit. That's what happens at Netflix headquarters.
No, but you can't even say that Coke is bad because apparently when people take Coke, it makes them more focused and hyped up, so it should make them do better. Apparently these dudes are fucking just smoking weed that brings them down. It's like, yeah, man, let's just like make them really 3D and slow.
This gotta be
They have no expressions, man, because like that's gonna be great.
They
like all the Coke addicts are like, fuck yeah, let's like make it explosive and great.
What if Leon like ran from a bunch of rats, dude?
In a submarine. He was in a submarine. Full of bio rats. Bro, it made it seem like there was one rat for each person, like it would bust out of their chests or whatnot.
Yeah, bro. Like
one dude had like 30 rats come out of his body, and I'm just like,
oh my god,
how? Like
how?
Like were the rats in you as they did this? Because you died still regular shape. You were like, and all of a sudden rats just came out of your mouth.
Like how?
I'm like, this ain't even scary. This is just stupid at this point. There was nothing scary. There was nothing thrilling. He's a magician.
Let me tell you.
It was nothing.
You guys ever watch like the movies? You know the movies that's like scary movie like 1, 2, 3, and 4?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was basically, in my
Oh,
opinion,
the parodies.
Yeah. They
The
just
satire
decided to be
and
like,
stuff.
let's just, you know what, guys, you want to make this like really great? Let's just have fucking rats come out this dude's body. It'll be great. And it's like,
Let's just have fun with it, guys.
what?
Let's just have fun with it, guys.
The
And then
producers
the
of South
rats
Park.
show up. No one else
I need to
sees
lay off
it.
the methamphetamine.
None of the audience sees it, but there's like cheese everywhere, and that's why the rats showed up. But no one else sees it, so that's why we don't get it.
Oh no.
Producers of
Listen,
South Park.
listen, it gets worse. Y'all know that one scene where this dude, the villain, was in the bathroom or wherever he was, and he was acting so like obvious that he was infected and he was transforming or whatever. Leon sits there
And Leon walked
for a
right
good
by.
1 minute, looking at him like, I wonder what's wrong with him.
Huh.
And keeps walking.
Wouldn't let that
I'm
be
like,
me, though.
This dumb motherfucker.
Dumb motherfucker. Like, why? Why are you so stupid, Leon? Why?
Short Bus Leon, ladies and gentlemen. Short Bus Leon.
And Claire's like, I think
That
it's
show,
another breakout. Really, Claire? You think?
that show made me hate Leon. Leon's probably one of my favorite characters in the Resident Evil universe.
And they made him
Because he's
retarded
in
in
Resident
this one.
Evil 4, and I think that's the best Evil game. And then they made him so stupid in this show. I'm just
They disrespected him.
I don't know what they're doing.
Short
I will
bus
say
Leon.
big up to Netflix though for season 2 of Beastars. I don't know if y'all fuck with Beastars.
Have not
It's
yet.
more one of them
Starting that this week.
dramatic, one of those dramatic kind of. It's a weird thing. Like people look at me, be like, "The fuck you watching Beastars for?" Because I watch Beastars, motherfucker. Shit, let me watch what I like.
Everybody watch that shit.
I like Battle for Los Angeles. I like Battle for Los Angeles. I like Beastars. Get off my dick. But that's out. I know y'all were talking about To Your Eternity. Came back from its break. How's that? How's the first episode of that shit?
Bro,
I haven't got to that one. Wait a minute,
Bro,
you seen
To
it?
Your Eternity, like, if y'all watched Kame Ga Kill?
Yeah.
Yeah, bruh.
So you know how that shit, like, I mean, that shit made you cry pretty much every episode.
Man,
This one, it doesn't make you cry every episode, but like it builds up to it, so it like
it makes you build a
Kame
relationship.
Ga Kill
with
was
the
really good. It was really good at like creating a backstory and making you have a connection in one fucking episode and just ruining it at the end. Like it was really good at doing that. But To Your Eternity, like decides, hey, let me build up this backstory. Let me create a connection for you for a few episodes, so you get even more fucking connected. And it just like makes a grown ass man cry every
I'm not
fucking
crying,
breath.
you crying. What are you talking about?
It is such a good. The reason, and me and Lifter were like talking about this last weekend, like. The reason why the anime is so good is like it's different. It is different. It's not like the typical, it's brand like it's just like this being that gets created. It's just this circle of like energy that how it becomes what it is by stimulation. That's all it is. It's like I meet this, so I start becoming this. I now meet this, I learn more of this. I meet humans, so I start learning how to be human. And it's just like more and more and more. I don't know. It's really good.
There's two types of cries in this world. There's the Kame Ga Kill cry, and then there's the To Your Eternity cry. The Kame Ga Kill.
What?
You know, they killed my boy. And then To Your Eternity is, oh, shit. Fuck is goddamn anime. Fuck.
Yep.
Who wrote this? Who wrote this?
Hey.
Fingers shaking.
No, it gives you that color purple cry. All my life I had to fight.
Has to fight.
Oh, dude, I love that movie. I read that book and I watched that movie.
No, I watched it To Your Eternity, and I had one of them Taraji P. Henson cries, and I'm a grown ass man. I was. I'd never been so. I looked in the mirror while I was doing it. I ain't never felt more ugly in my fucking life. I ain't never felt that fucking ugly. That's that baby boy Tyrese broke my heart cry. That was.
Hey, well then, if you
It is
cry
one of
like
those
that,
cries where you're happy that you're alone.
if you cry like that, Deontay, then you did not want to see me when I first watched this. I was up here trying to talk and rationalize with myself, but you know how you start off in your regular tone of voice, but then you drop down an octave, and you're like, why they had to kill my boy? Why they had to kill my boy? Why they had to kill him?
And even what they're saying, and really, even what they're saying is not even spoiling anything because they're not even saying the right thing. It is honestly just like, it is such a, it is just, and you know what? This, like, throw the sad parts to the side. It is actually a very creative, beautiful, and like kind of twisted and suspenseful anime at the same time. Like, you have no idea what's gonna happen, and like it's kind of like how One Punch Man is, kind of like Jujutsu Kaisen, where you don't really know a lot of the backstory about how everything came to be. You just learn it as you watch.
Right.
And it has action.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty good in my opinion, and it makes sense. Like, the way that they like progress through the episodes and the time and like how they get to where it is right now, it just makes fucking sense. Like how to kill a slime. Like, it's like he becomes super fucking strong, but like in a way it makes sense how he eventually got to where he is now, but even then, like, it still makes sense to where he is compared to other people. Like, it just, I don't know. It's like one of those ones that, like, it just makes sense.
It's easily one of the greatest stories ever told for anime. Easily.
For me, yeah.
To Your Eternity is a top tier storytelling. Like, you want to get to know characters, have a favorite, get attached to them, and then fuck around and lose them. The author of that show knew what the fuck he was doing. This dude has a cigarette and he's just twisting that shit lit into your back. Like, he's a whole asshole for the shit that he writes. And that's one of those shows where, like, the toughest motherfucker in the world is gonna fall in love with a character and he's gonna fucking bitch up. He's gonna bitch up when something happens to that character. And it's just like, you need this in your life. You don't want to. Like, I'm not gonna watch this show because I'm not in the mood to cry. But like, motherfucker, watch this show because you need to cry. You a grown. You heard the Jagged Edge song. They say a man ain't supposed to cry. Cry no tears. All of us need to watch this shit, get some venting on, and just cry. Just let our emotions out. Bring out our inner Drake. Yeah. Like, To Your Eternity is worth to watch. As far as the new school goes, it's definitely up there.
Yeah, I'll check that out. I'm just not trying to be crying and shit, but I mean, the way y'all talking about it, I'm gonna have to dabble in it.
Dabble.
Because I mean, I don't like to be sad watching shit, man. Like, that's why I didn't watch what's that show everybody be crying about? This Is Us. Everybody goes, this show's so good. Tears just keep falling. I'm just like, that, I don't want to watch that. Like, I'll just rewatch Chappelle's Show or Boondocks or something. You know, I want to laugh at some shit. I don't want to be crying at this and then wake up in the morning and go to work and cry at work. You know what I'm saying? I want to have a good time at my house. I want to be crying. But yeah, that's all our topics, man. And look at us, under 2 hours. Under 2 hours, all topics met. Even did some bonus to your eternity talk. Look, we learning. We learning.
We getting there.
But y'all got any final things to say to the audience?
We drawing this out to 2 hours.
Okay. As far as that goes, you can go to our Facebook page, which we now have a what they call that, a URL. It's like Facebook.com. It's either Saturday Night Nerds or it's Facebook.com/Saturday Night Nerds. You just apply. You don't have to answer the questions if you don't want to join our group. But if you're a nerd and you need a place to call home, join us. We'll let you in. We got plenty of admins and moderators to help take care of you, and we're here for a good time and a whole lot of laughs. And also in our description is the link tree, and all you have to do is click on that. And we have several links to where you can follow us on different forms of social media. We have Instagram. You can follow us on there. We're all taking our turns posting on it and keeping it updated. We have Patreon, so go ahead and support that too if you wish. Twitch and our YouTube channel as well. And if you want to stay up to date on your on these episodes, you can also go to Spotify to watch these episodes again. And that's all I got.
Will, what you got?
What I got? I got a pocket full of sunshine. I got a pocket, and it's all mine.
Here he go.
You know what, man? I don't know what I got.
Here he goes.
No, but seriously, to all y'all that out there watching it, like bring your people in, bring your friends in, like anyone that's a part of like the Marvel universe, anyone that's a part of the anime universe, anyone that's a part of the video game universe. Continue to bring them into a place that's a safe space to talk about like all the things they want to talk about when it comes to nerd stuff. Like even like you want to talk about like book stuff, like we're all for it. Like we all want to talk about that stuff. Like we're all here. And this is what we do every single weekend to talk about that stuff. And then on top of all the y'all nerds, if you got some special guests that you know, like really know a topic really well that we're trying to advocate for that weekend, and they want to be a part of it and they want to really talk about it, like shoot us a message. Like I want to bring that person into it, talk about it. But other than that, like this is our thing that we want to start getting going to bring all our fellow nerd people into and make it something big.
Oh yeah. I do have something to say. Stay tuned. We do have merch coming soon. Just saying, if you want to rock that, you know what I'm saying, cop the merch, you know what I'm saying. We'll have the prices up and the official looks of it and everything. Coming soon. It's coming soon, and like piggybacking off what Jackie was saying, you know what I'm saying, and as Dom would say, there's nothing more important than family. We're family. I get sick and tired of that meme. I'm just gonna tell you right now. I get so sick and tired of that goddamn meme. Don't nobody mention to me about family ever. I'm tired of it. I'm sick and tired of it.
Yo, so that's all we got. Episode 5 in the books. Next week, we should be good for Saturday. I think everybody's good on Saturday. 9:30 East or Central, 7:30 Pacific. You know how we get down. Saturday Night Nerds. Everybody take care. Be easy. Peace.
All right.
Peace.